What's up, guys? I am here back in the Napa Valley and got to come home. Got to come home for a fun trip back to see my mom and family, kind of my hometown. I lived all over the USA, but I will definitely say this is the place that is the most home to me of anywhere. And I'm lucky to have that. I'm lucky to call this small town in Northern California home because it's a really special place. And it taught me a lot of things growing up. You know, one of the things that this is my Growing Money podcast, and talking about finances and understanding money and roots that come with that. That over there, my first bank as a kid, Silverado Credit Union, one of my first places that I had a bank account, which is pretty damn cool. And one of the things too, like I've been talking about roots. Morning. One of my podcasts is called Barrels and Roots, and just on the Sean Trey show, I was talking, Napa Valley, that's home for me. Talking about the roots of the places that have brought me up. My podcast is called Growing Money for a specific reason. Because the idea of planting little seeds to grow something bigger, to grow something that has an impact and is powerful. I was just talking to a family friend, and I'm going to be starting to do some interesting content with him about financial educational material for young people. I don't know if a lot of you know this, but for much of my life, 25 plus years, I was a children's teacher. I taught kids English and all types of things in education, taught communications in university as well. And it's interesting because I think back to my own education and I think about what I learned growing up, what was helpful and what was most definitely not helpful. I circle back on a couple things. Some of the greatest teachers I had were people that inspired me, gave me information about things. Check this out, it's cool, so cool. They got all these little scissors on the wall. Scissors hanging out of the wall, pretty cool. They taught me about different things, and they gave me skills, and they planted seeds. Like this, one of my favorite bookshops. This cool lady, Liza, used to own this place, and it had all these little great books inside. And man, that was one of the places that shaped me. I'd go there and buy books all the time, and I would read them. And there were seeds that were planted to help me grow, help me learn. But sometimes we're planting the wrong seeds. You know, when we're talking about personal finance and financial education, we are not always planting the right seeds. And people can definitely be lost in that process. You know, how do I mean? My daughter's learning all about algebra. I'm helping her with her homework right now, but the challenge is that she's not learning much about financial education, at least not at school. But we are teaching her the principles about planting deep roots. And when I come back to my hometown, it's important to do that as well. Now, what does that mean? Well, the roots financially that you prepare, if a tree has deep roots, those roots prevent the tree from getting blown over. But financially, we have to put down the roots as well. You know, teaching kids about how to save money. I have this great activity I do with my daughter, talking about the importance of like having an emergency fund, you know, or we talk about, you know, one of the things I love to talk about is needs versus wants. And when I was talking to my family friend this morning about working with kids and personal financial education, you know, how do you get these concepts that are easy to understand? You know, if we're talking to kids about personal financing, I want to talk to someone about what it means to save money. Or my favorite is talking to kids about needs versus wants. Like, how do you talk to someone about needs versus wants that's 10 years old? I always frame it like the zombie apocalypse. I know I'm doing a whole series about zombies. Super fun. But you know, my daughter will talk about if she has a backpack, she can put 10 things in her backpack. What's she going to put in the backpack? And, you know, 10 needs versus wants. What are the 10 things? A zombie apocalypse going outside. You know, what are you going to save? And if you don't know, then it can be really challenging. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, wow. This is so beautiful. Check this out. Looks like they're getting ready for Easter Sunday. They have all these beautiful things out here. It's really beautiful. Good morning. Is this all for sale or? This is very cool. I'll come back with my wife. It's so beautiful. Now, when you're working with all of this, you're planting the roots, putting the stuff out there, putting the roots in the ground, we have to work with people on knowing where to start, where to begin, and what's important in life. You know, as I'm back in this valley, I really see this old truck right here. Pretty cool. Christian Bale had a truck like that, old Toyota truck, and he drove the same truck for so long. I think he's still driving it. I don't think it's like a 92 or something, or maybe a 2002. And even through all the Batman movies and all that, he kept the same truck. And someone came up to him, and I remember watching a video, and they were like, have you ever thought about upgrading your truck? And he's like, why? Why would I want to? We have to teach people what's really important. You know, for me, those roots are every single time that I get to see my mom, see my brother, every single time that I get to be around the people I care about. I'm starting this company with my brother, Odie. Now, Odie's based off the Oat Hill Mine Trail. It's a mine trail that people go mountain biking on up there in Calistoga. Now, why is that even important? Because it's our roots. Like, I was thinking, people could say, oh yeah, dude, you could build that company and then exit. I'm like, or I build something I love that I can share with people. Like, how much more cool is that? So for me, what is important to you? I have clients that come on and talk about what is your enough number or what is your why? Both really important concepts that are things that I'm trying to think about all the time. For me, my enough number is something that gives my family freedom. Freedom to not have to look over our shoulders financially. Freedom to be able to do what we need to create a better life. But do I need to be Elon Musk rich? No, that's not what I'm looking for. But do I want to be rich enough that I can empower people? Totally. I'm gonna order a quick cup of coffee for my wife, so give me a second. I'm in here getting a cappuccino. So again, what has value to you and why? I am. My wife, I was walking home and my wife's like, give me a cappuccino. I said, yes, ma'am. I'll go home and tell her that everyone liked my jacket.
Exactly.
That's it.
Like,
100%. She, early in our marriage, told me to say, my wife is always right, and I resisted it. Wait, damn it. The longer we're married, the more it seems to be true. So, yes, that is the case. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye. It's really a little cappuccino, but it's gonna be delicious. Real wealth to me is time, connection, and shared experiences. It's about having that safety net that you've built by planting those roots over time that enable you to live a life that is rich. I talk to all these financial advisors on my podcast, and all of them tell me this. Very few people sit there and say, I wish I had more money at the end of my life. They say, all of their clients say, you know what? It's the experiences. And they have to work with people on oftentimes spending more, because these people will get to these places and just be like, well, I don't know what to do with my money. So what's important to you? Today, for me, I'm gonna hang out with my nieces and my brother. That's gonna be fun. We're gonna go out to pizza, I think, or maybe burgers. But whatever we do, we're doing it together. And this last year, some of the things that I was able to accomplish this year that meant a lot for me was I was able to pay off all my credit card debt and start to shift my mindset to use them more intentionally. Now, one of the cool things is that when I hang out with my family and I'm spending some money on something, I don't get the same anxiety that I used to. I used to get anxiety all the time about spending on things. But when you get this better relationship with money, it's less terrifying and it empowers you more to make the right decisions and make decisions that are going to be better in the long run. Just got to tell my wife I'm on my way home. Which all of this reminded me of something. Money is a tool. Just like all these beautiful knives right here. See all those amazingly beautiful knives? Take a look at all those. Now, the thing to remember with a knife is the knife is a valuable tool. It can cut you, but it can also be used to create and cook a wonderful meal. Some beautiful pots like this. But you have to know how to use it. And you have to recognize that it is simply a tool for you to use. It's not the end goal. It's not the thing that you are worshiping. You don't want to worship money. You want to respect money. You want to have a relationship with money. You want to be friends with money. And these are things that we got to teach our kids. These are things that we got to put out there. But at the end of the day, your why is the most important thing for you. As I've been able to start to right my financial ship, build and grow my company, one of the things that's most important for me is that time with my family. Getting my financial life in better order has allowed me to have more time with my mom. It's allowed me to have these nice trips with my family to different places that are beautiful. It's allowed me to figure out ways to start preparing for my daughter to go to college and not have the same student loans like I did. It's all starting with a simple relationship. Opening those doors and walking through them. But you gotta figure out and learn what you don't know. Planting those seeds, one step at a time, planting the seeds that are gonna get you there. But it also is one more thing. You have to sit there and ask the question, what is real wealth? Real wealth is the ability to be present. For me, it's the ability to be here, walking up and down my favorite place in the world, my hometown. It's the ability to get a cup of coffee for my wife. The store I wanted to go to was closed, so I'm gonna go home. It's the ability to be present. This afternoon, I've been posting less on LinkedIn. I've been doing less content while I'm on this trip. I filmed some cool stuff, but at the end of the day, I realized one thing. What I really want to be doing is spending time with my brother, my mom, my nieces, my sister-in-law, and my wife. That's it. That's real wealth for me. I made some awesome videos, got to meet some really cool people, and left relationships where we were, and entered into, I had some, let me rewind that part, talking to some people and creating relationships where I might have entered into that relationship as an acquaintance and left as a friend. Got to meet with my friend Kyle, who's a guest on my podcast, but I can definitely say after my wife and I went and had wine and learned his story and saw him working, we left as friends. An old high school teacher of my brother's. We went in, we sat down for coffee together, and once again, good friends. What is it that has real value for you? As I walk past beautiful oak trees and I look down and still see some acorns left on the ground, what are the seeds that you're planting in your life? And one of the things that I try to tell people is that money's not everything, but it sure is important. And if you can work and learn those financial principles, it's going to be a much better life. This podcast, this YouTube channel, is all about financial education and talking about money. But really, at the end of the day, I'm not here to tell you what you should be investing in, where you should be putting your money and things like that. There's plenty of experts out there that can do that. But I'm the guy here who's talking about how can you start to have a good relationship with money? Because to me, that's the most important thing. And you got to figure out what it is that you're planning, what it is that the reason you're planting it, and then just start living with those good habits. I don't know. I do know that it's good to be home. It's good to look at those roots that make everything in my life important. For me, I want to be able to have my daughter come back here someday and go to high school in my hometown. I love the high school here. St. Helena High is a great school, and I'd love for her to have that experience. But I have to keep building the foundation to be able to make that possible. And that can feel overwhelming at times. But just like the relationship I had this morning, or the conversation I had this morning with someone, and we talked about this. Great things are not built in a day. Great things are built step by step. Today I'm making a video sharing with you guys some of my thoughts about personal finance. We'll see what tomorrow brings. But hope you guys have a beautiful day and can think about the roots that you're creating in your life. We got time, and it's good to see how we can build something great. Hope you guys have a beautiful day, and see you next time. And oh yeah, go check out Odie. It's a hat company I'm creating. Not just a hat, apparel company I'm creating. We're going to be selling bags, shirts. And it represents the roots of where my brother and I came from. And that's a good thing. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.